Hey Stitchers! In this video we're going to look at 12 classic embroidery stitches that you'll learn to master with our Stitch Stories embroidery kits and fabric patterns. All of our kits and patterns come with illustrated instructions for each of these 12 stitches and a stitch diagram with the recommended stitches for each area of the design. Now let's take a closer look at each of these stitches and when to use them. First up, we have the straight stitch. You'll use this basic stitch to render individual straight lines or in groups to form a pattern. Like you see here in Bessie's Blossoms, where the straight stitch is used to render several different flower patterns, as well as the individual lines of detail in the cow's face. Next is the satin stitch. You'll use this stitch to shade an area or to fill in shapes or text. Like in our rainy day design, where you'll use the satin stitch to fill in the boots and bring pops of color and emphasis to the stitched scene. The outline stitch. You'll use this stitch to create a thick rope-like outline for any shape including curves and circles. You'll notice it here in our catnap design. The cat, the bed frame, and the pillows are all embroidered using the outline stitch. The back stitch. You'll use this stitch to create thin, clean lines in your embroidered projects. The waves in the lighthouse design are a great example. See how nice and tidy these lines of stitching look, even around those tight curves? The whipped back stitch. You'll use this stitch to create smooth, raised lines that are tidy and great for outlining more detailed shapes. In our popular To the Woods design, the flowers on the camper as well as the cute little fish are both outlined using the whipped back stitch. The split stitch can be used to outline smaller detailed shapes and curves, or it can be used to fill a shape in closely packed rows. Here in our Easter Fluffle kit, we've used the split stitch to help us make clean work of the tiny curves on the bunny noses and ears. The Lazy Daisy stitch is used to create a nice petal shape, perfect for flowers, small leaves, or even repeating patterns. In our Snowy Pines kit, you'll layer together rows of lazy daisies to create a cluster of pine trees. The chain stitch. You'll use this stitch when you want to add a bit more bulk or texture to your stitched lines, shapes, or lettering. Here you can see how the chain stitch really helps the flowy script lettering to stand out in our Start with Coffee design. The French knot can be used to create single dots, centers for flowers, or clusters of texture in your embroidery designs. In our Grow design, you can see how a tight single knot can be used as a small flower center, or how looser clusters of French knots can be layered together to create fabulous texture. The fly stitch can be useful for embroidering sharp zigzags or softer scallops, depending on how tightly you pull the stitch. In our Tea Party design, you'll use the fly stitch to finish off the project with a charming scalloped border. The leaf stitch, also known as the fishbone, is used to fill leaves and feathers in a way that creates a plated effect down the center. You'll use this stitch in our Create design to add beautiful texture and patterns to a design that is bursting with color and creativity. The wagon wheel, which is also called the woven wheel or the rose stitch, is used to form a spiral or rose-like pattern by weaving the thread over and under 5 spokes. We've used it in our harvest table design to add some extra detail to our turkey's feathers. There you have it, our 12 classic embroidery stitches. And while there are, of course, other embroidery stitches out there, we like using these particular stitches in our embroidery designs because they provide a good foundation for those who are new to hand embroidery, while allowing more experienced stitchers the ability to render their favorite scenes and motifs with a range of stitches.